Here's our nutrition facts label. So on activity 27, we see the nutrition facts label, and this is something that we can find on a packaged food container, all right? So in our country, in the U.S., we have nutrition facts which are required to be placed on any kind of label. If it's a can or a bag or a bottle or a box, it will have a nutrition facts label so that the consumer knows what ingredients there are and what kind of nutrition there is in the product, okay? So by reading the nutrition facts labels, consumers can get nutrition information about almost every food on the grocery shelf. You know, not including fresh meat and vegetables, but things that are in a package. Now, each label shows a standard serving size at the top. So at the top of any kind of a nutrition label, you will see the first line will say serving size, all right? So in the example in the book, the serving size says what? Half a cup, right? Do you see that right here? Okay, so it says half cup. Now, a cup is a measure of volume. It's a measure of volume. Yeah, it's a measure of volume. It's a specific size. And of course, in the U.S., we use English measurements. So we don't use liters and all those things that are very logical, but we inherited the English system. So it also shows you the not only the volume, but also the weight. So you can see in parentheses, do you see a certain number? It says 114 G. What does G mean?
Gram.
Okay, gram or grams?
Grams.
All right, so that G is going to be plural because 114 is more than one, so that's plural, grams, right? That is a serving size. Now, in the package, it says there's servings per container. Now, container, we don't know, because we're just looking at the book, we don't know if this is a box like this, or it's a can, or it's a jar. It doesn't matter. We're just looking at the container. So container is a general word, right? Yes. Right? Container is a general word. We can buy boxes. That's a kind of container, a bag. Those are all different kinds of containers. So it will say servings per container. So, and it tells you the number. How many servings are there in this container? Four. All right, so there are 4 servings. That means maybe you and your 3 friends will share. Each of you gets 1 serving. Or maybe you will have 1 serving today and another tomorrow and another the next day. Or maybe you'll have all 4 at once, you know. But you have to count your calories and count your vitamins per serving. So below the first line, the first bold horizontal line, you see it says amount per serving. And it shows you the calories. Calories. So how many calories are there per serving? 90, right. And how many calories come from fat? 30 calories come from fat. I don't know what kind of food this is, but it's just an example. So a lot of calories, 1/3 of it comes from fat, and the other comes from some of the other parts, okay? So if you're interested in finding out how much fat you're consuming, those are some places that you would look at. Now, if you take 1 serving, how many calories are you eating? 90. If of this container, if you eat 1 serving, you're consuming 90 calories. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Suppose you eat 2 servings. 180 calories. How about if you eat 3 servings? 270 calories. How about if you eat the whole thing all by yourself? 360 calories. Okay, so when you look at the nutrition facts label and you say, oh, I ate this box, it's only 90, that's wrong. You know, you might be mistaken because you look at the word 90 and you say, oh, that's all I had today. But if you ate the whole box or the whole package, you're eating 360. So you understand that this is per serving. That's why you need to find out how much is 1 serving. And then how much are you eating? Maybe you're eating 2 servings. Maybe you're eating 3 servings. Then you have to multiply that number by 90. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Below the next horizontal bold line, you see the percent of daily value. Now there's a little asterisk. And the asterisk means that you should look down below. And in the small print below, it shows you percent daily values are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. and your daily value may be higher or lower depending on your calorie needs. Now, we just read a paragraph, right? We read a paragraph about an average woman and an average man and how much they need. So in our paragraph on page 62, it says, let's say we have a woman who stands 5 feet 5 inches tall. That's kind of like me, okay. And she weighs about 128 pounds. She has an average amount of body fat. She engages in light activity. She should consume about 20,000 sorry. Ooh, that's weird. She should consume about 2,200 calories per day. And then it gives an example of a man, 20 years old. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall. He weighs 160 pounds. He has an average amount of body fat. He engages in light activity. He needs an intake of about 2,900 calories. Okay? So you get some idea about that in comparison to what you see on the nutrition facts label. It gives you the percent of daily value if your intake is about 2,000. But the fact of the matter is, many people, their intake is bigger or more than that because they're not this size. But we can see approximately what the value is of different elements and nutrients. For example, total fat. It tells us 3 grams. So one serving, not the whole package, but just one serving contains 3 grams of total fat. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. And that is equivalent to 5% of the daily value. Now, suppose you eat 4 servings. Then how much fat are you getting? If you're eating 4 servings of this instead of 1 serving, you're eating 4 servings, how much total fat will you consume? 12 grams. So 12 grams is not going to be 5%. It's going to be 20%. So do you see what I'm saying? If you eat more than 1 serving, then you have to multiply it so that you get an idea of how much fat you're consuming compared to how much you should consume. Now, there is fat that's saturated and fat that's unsaturated. Saturated fat is not so good for you because it clogs up your arteries. Your blood flow doesn't go very well, and as you increase in age, it will be hard for the blood to travel and circulate throughout your body, and you might have heart disease. You might have a heart attack. You might have other problems because your blood is not flowing through your body very well. Unsaturated fat is easier for you to get rid of throughout your body. So if you're concerned about the amount of fat you're taking in, then look at the food packages. In this case, it says there's no saturated fat. It's a 0 grams. So that means there's 3 grams of fat, but it's unsaturated fat. Now the next item says cholesterol. Cholesterol. Now, it says here 0 mg. So notice that cholesterol is measured in milligrams. And so this food has no cholesterol. So that's a good thing. If you have cholesterol, what happens if you have high cholesterol in your body? Is that good for you or bad for you? Bad. Why is that bad for you? You have high cholesterol. You get more diseases. You get dizzy. Yeah, what else happens when you have high cholesterol? Your heart is probably more likely to get a stroke or, up in your brain. So it clogs up all the things that run your body normally, and then you can stop. You don't want to do that, right? No. Okay. So you have to look at your cholesterol levels. And so it's going to influence what you eat, what you intake, what you consume will influence your overall health. So when you look at the nutrition facts, you can learn about what you're putting in. Now, what does it say for sodium? What is sodium? Salt. Right. So if you use salt in your food or salted food, or you buy food, you don't even put salt in it, it has a lot of sodium in it already. You want to find out, in the packaged food, are the manufacturers, are they putting a lot of sodium? In this one, they're putting 300 milligrams of sodium. Is that a little or a lot?
A lot.
That's a lot. And consider, how much of your daily intake is that according to this table?
2,000.
It's 13%.
15%.
Right. So if in one serving of this food, you're getting 13% of the sodium that you should have in a day, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a
Okay? So sometimes when you look at packaged food, you can decide, you can look at it and say, oh, this one has too much sodium, I'm going to try another brand. I'm going to look at it. For example, here's one I'm looking at right here, and this one is 120 milligrams of sodium, which is lower, okay? So you can look at the labels to find out and be able to choose the foods that you think are, better for you. Now, we have the next category called total carbohydrates. Now remember, carbohydrates give you energy. They give you energy. So we want to look at this figure here, and it says total carbohydrates, because there are different kinds of carbohydrates, including fiber and sugar. So this one says, how many grams? Is that 30 or 13?
13.
Is it 30 or 13?
13.
It's 13.
15.
Stress the second syllable, please. Let me hear you say that beautifully.
13.
13.
13.
Good. All right, it says 13 grams. And 13 grams is how many percent of your total daily, what does it say? 4%. All right, 4% of the daily value. And we have some subcategories that show the dietary fiber, how many grams? 3 grams equals how many percent? 12% of the daily value. And we have sugars. Now, I want to tell you the word sugar. Normally, when we teach this word, we say sugar. We don't add S to it because we usually mean how much sugar do you want in your, do you use sugar in your coffee? Do you use sugar in your tea? Do you put sugar in the dessert? We use it as a non-count word. Here, we're using it as a count word, and this is the reason. Because chemically, there are different kinds of sugars. There are different sugars. All right, so there is corn sugar, corn syrup, and there is sugar from different plants. There's cane sugar. There's sugar from a lot of different sources. So when they use the word sugars here, they mean all, it doesn't matter what kind, how many different kinds of sugar, that's when they put the word S. All right, so sometimes we put a little S on a word that's normally non-count. We count it if we mean all the different kinds. So all the different kinds of sugars, that's too many words. So they just use the word sugars, all right? So that's why we see it here. Below that, we see another category, and what is that one? Protein. How do you pronounce that word? Protein. Yes, stress the first syllable when you say the word protein. Right. How much protein is there?
3 grams.
3 grams of protein in each serving. Right. Below that, at the very bottom, in smaller print, which is a little bit harder to see, you can see vitamins. And not all packaged food has the same kind of vitamin, so it'll tell you which vitamins are available. And in this example in our book, we see that there's vitamin A, 80%, which means if you eat one serving, it will give you 80% of your daily needed value if your intake is supposed to be 2,000 calories. And vitamin C, what did it show? 60%. Calcium, 4%, and iron,
4%.
4%. Okay. Now, it also gives you a little bit more information at the bottom. So the bottom portion shows the daily values. And these are nutrient standards that are used on all the food labels. And they're the same on all the labels. Now, let's take a look at how we can use this information in asking and answering questions.